We all know how confusing the messages society tells us can be. On the one hand, all our supermodels are just super skinny. But on the other, we're told to accept all body types and even love people for their extra fluff. We're told to be more open-minded, but at the same time, anyone who has an opposing opinion gets attacked and harassed. The same thing applies on a smaller scale to high school prom. Some high schools are now allowing, or most high schools are now allowing gay, lesbian, and transgender students to attend their traditional proms with their desired dates. And many schools are starting to put on their own all-gay proms so students feel more accepted. But while society is becoming more accepting, at the same time, in 2007, there are still schools who have segregated proms for students of different color. Understanding how prom has changed throughout history can help us understand how society has changed as well. Today we'll look at how the idea of prom originated, how music has changed throughout the course of prom, and what prom looks like today. Let's start with how prom started. The idea of prom was actually created from debutante parties, which were extravagant parties for young society girls to be introduced to society. It was a coming-of-age party for these young girls, and they would have big parties with their friends and family, and most importantly, eligible bachelors. The purpose of these parties was to show the young bachelors the assets that this young woman could bring to a family with them. The people who didn't have enough money for these expensive parties would read and fantasize about them, longing to be dressed up and desired and celebrated. Enter the high school prom. In a journal entry titled "Performing the High School Prom in the UK, Locating Authenticity Through Practice," Julie Tinson and Peter Nuttall tell about how an early prom may have looked. Traditionally, in order to recognize the significant transition from school to continue with education and/or to find employment, there would have been a disco at the school gym where pupils would be expected to perhaps invest in a new pair of jeans and some hair products. In other words, traditional proms were a simple way to recognize the upperclassmen and celebrate the start of a new era in their lives. So now that we know what prom looked like, or how prom started, let's go to how music has changed since prom has started. Knowing how music has changed can help us get a visual of what prom may have looked like at any given time throughout history. Once upon a time, there wasn't the technology that we have now to store, play, and record music. So if you wanted music at an event, you would need a live band. Taking a look at a typical prom in the 60s, the band was almost guaranteed to be a live one. Something unique they did in the 60s was dance programs. Because students would actually dance to every song, the girls would have a dance program that the guys would fill out to see who she would be dancing with for each song. The date of the girl was guaranteed the first and last dance and would typically take several dances in the middle, but anything left would be open for other guys to fill out that wanted to dance with her. Now today, we have lots of technology for playing our own music, and we can play whatever music we want, but there are still some occasions where live bands are used. In an AP article, it tells of a student who won the opportunity for Christina Aguilera to come sing at his prom. Most would think this is a really cool opportunity, but the kid was quoted saying, "It'll be really cool, but my girlfriend and her friends don't like it at all. Her being there is going to take the spotlight away from them." So not that a live or well-known musician would be really cool, but that her being there would take away the spotlight from the other students. All right, let's move to what prom looks like today. Most people in this room have been to at least one prom before, so we know what it looks like. In contrast to Tinson and Nuttall's journal, a book by Amy Best, Prom Night, Youth, Schools, and Popular Culture, evaluates the extravagance of today's prom. She lists some of the main focal points for planning for prom as the theme, the location, the decorations, the menu, the remembrance gifts, the price of tickets, and the music. By the time you factor in all the things the attendees are planning, from finding a dress or tux, getting it altered, finding what you're going to do for dinner, who you're going to take pictures with, getting a date, finding the jewelry, handbags, shoes, everything that goes into getting ready for prom, it can take months of planning and weeks of stress leading up to the actual day. Now, prom has changed not only in the extravagance of the ordeal, but in the attitudes, stereotypes, and images of what is accepted at prom. However, there are still conflicting messages told to the public. An article in Diversity Factor, just kidding. So, we know that most schools allow gay and transgender students to bring their desired dates to proms, and many have their own proms for these gay students so they feel more comfortable. But in 2007, there are still schools that have segregated proms for students of different color. And in 2007 was the first year that this school in Georgia, the senior class officers decided that they would rather have an integrated prom than two separate ones. Prom has changed a lot over the years, from how people dress, act, and what kind of music is played, to why we even have it. Prom has developed from not even being a high school event to becoming one of the most iconic days in one's high school career. By knowing how it functions, you can better understand the unique high school tradition and how the world around you is changing. As I stated in the intro, it's very difficult to understand the controversy of what society is telling us is right. So I hope this information will help you learn whether it should be separated so students feel more comfortable, or students should just be more accepting so everyone can feel welcome at prom. Thank you.